Welcome to Nerd on Nerd with me, Jack Kempster.
And me, Liam Underwood. And in this Mother's Day special episode, we're going to be talking about that topic that all mothers have a very soft spot for.
BDSM.
50 Shades of Grey.
Oh.
Which, well, it does kind of touch on BDSM.
It doesn't just touch on it, does it? It's pretty... Anyway, that's for later.
Yeah, that's that section that you all like, called Culture Swap. But before that, we've got the section that everyone's indifferent to, Catching Up with Jack and Liam.
We should point out, listeners, that this episode is going to be completely mother-friendly.
Yeah, before this is the sort of episode where if you're thinking, I like the Nerd on Nerd podcast, if only I could show it to my mum so she could see what I spend my time doing and be proud of me, this is the episode for you.
Just to demonstrate how I'm going to be keeping this whole show mother-friendly, I'm going to say some swear words, Liam. But when the listeners listen to it, all those swear words will be beeped out. It. Bananas. There we go.
So yeah, so you're actually going to censor us, are you?
Yeah, sure.
I'm just going to try to not swear.
We'll see.
Yeah. So yeah, first thing first then, what have you got planned for Mother's Day?
Nothing.
She's a lucky lady.
We give her presents.
Oh, what are you giving her? Are you allowed to say, or
No, I'm not going to say on the podcast.
is she going to listen before Mother's Day?
Maybe not, but I don't want to say it in case she does.
Okay. So
What are you getting your mum?
I haven't actually got her any presents because...
Oh, sorry. Whoa. Hold your... Damn it. Hold your horses.
Yeah?
Nearly swore.
My horses are held.
You had a go at me for not doing anything with my mum, but you're not even getting her anything.
Yeah, right, because I'm doing stuff with her. She gets the
Oh,
present...
what are you doing?
She gets the present of spending time with me because this is what she wants to do. So she wants us to go to Southampton and look at skiing clothes and stuff. So maybe if she sees like a nice pair of gloves or something that she likes, maybe I'll treat her. I've got her card, and
Yeah.
I'll treat her to like a nice lunch out, but I don't have her like any present or anything because I don't really know what she wants.
I mean, Mother's Day, you just sort of get flowers or something.
Yeah, but she's kind of coming here, so then flowers, like, I can't exactly get them delivered to her because she's going to be here.
Just give them to her when she gets to yours.
Yeah, but she's not going to want to have to drive like an hour back with like flowers all over the place.
She probably would.
Nah, honestly, I'll get a pair of gloves or something. That way, I don't
Wow,
like...
you're so thoughtful.
Here's the thing, Jack. I don't like getting flowers as a present because I don't like the idea of giving someone something that they then have to be responsible for. And it's just going to die eventually anyway.
Right. I mean, you're not meant to buy your mum presents based on what you think is the thing, Liam.
I get that, but...
Because your mum wouldn't get flowers and go, I can't believe my son gave me the gift of death. Inevitable death.
You never know. That's how I would react if I was given flowers. I prefer to give gifts where they're going to get some use out of them. Like, for example, for Christmas, I'm really proud of this gift that I got her. It was a big, like, chorizo sausage with a knife for cutting it. Like a special chorizo knife.
I don't want to make you feel bad, so I'm not going to comment on that gift.
Honestly, it was brilliant. She said she tried some of the sausage and it was very good. And then I said, did you use the knife to cut it? And she went, nope.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
But, you know, like the year before, just going with the theme here, it kind of bothered me when I was going back. Like, they have quite small bowls. And I like a big bowl of fruit at night. And I could never fit it all in their tiny little bowls. It annoyed me.
Before you carry on,
Yeah.
you are aware that these gifts are making you sound like a pretty self-centered human being, right?
No, because, right, let me finish. So I got her...
If this ends with you buying her bowls, I'm going to be disappointed in you.
But wait, Jack, just wait. Because I got her 2 really nice pasta bowls, right, part of a set, but also, she loves them. Like, every time I've been there since, I've clocked her using them. Like, I was there yesterday for reasons we'll discuss later. She was eating her lunch out of it. I think I changed her life with this gift.
I can't believe you bought your mum bowls as a present.
I mean, I obviously got other nicer things, but this was like a little like joke present, you know?
Yeah, it sounds like this was the joke present, Liam. Yeah.
Yeah. This was the joke present.
Got you.
Almost
That's
as
all right,
good.
then.
Almost as good as the time I got her a framed picture of me in a vest top that says Jesus on it with a picture of Jesus.
I mean, that was a good one.
Yeah. So, you know, In comparison, any gift now looks good.
I mean, to be fair, I can't complain. I mean, I was a child, so I wasn't involved in the present buying process when this happened. But one year, my dad, I think for my mum's birthday, he got like, because we were all kids, he went and got all these presents for her. And he bought proper ones and hid them. And then what he did was bought windscreen wiper replacements, a Red Hot Chili Peppers CD, because she doesn't like rock music particularly.
Okay.
Well, not anymore. And then it was some other piece of rubbish. And she nearly cried when she opened them. And then he had to quickly run and get the actual presents before she burst into tears in front of me.
Wait, so did your dad give her those presents pretending they were from you?
Yeah, pretending that they were the real ones, like windscreen wipers.
So she's like, oh, Jack, thank you for these windscreen wipers you've got me.
Yeah.
That's amazing. To be fair, that does sound like something your dad would do, because I know now, because I spoke to him this week.
Yeah, you have. You've spoken to my dad.
On the phone, and it was a delightful conversation. If he's listening, it was a delightful conversation.
I'm glad.
I had fun anyway. Good. But it's not Father's Day, this is Mother's Day, so if only I'd got to speak to your mum as well.
Yeah, sorry about that, mate.
That's alright, maybe for Father's Day.
Next time you severely burn yourself, I can get her to give you advice.
I mean, I'd just like to clarify, the way you said next time sounds like one, that's happened before, and two, let's just hope it doesn't happen.
Well, never say never.
True, but I'm quite careful with fire. I have a healthy respect for it.
That's exactly what someone would say before they got severely burnt.
Yeah, I know, but I'm kind of like, because this is a Mother's Day special, I'm trying to say stuff that your mum would like.
Yeah, she loves dealing with burns.
Well, no, I imagine she would much prefer people to have, like, awareness of fire and be quite sensible about it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so, I know not to play with fire.
I've seen you try and light a barbecue.
Exactly. I'd also like to say, because it is Mother's Day and because my mum probably isn't listening, thank you for everything you do for me. I appreciate it.
My mum probably won't listen to this either, but yeah, thanks, Mum.
I liked how sincere you sounded.
Yeah, it's because I feel like you've guilted me into saying it.
Yeah, it sounded that way. Mine, I hope, sounded quite genuine and heartfelt.
Yeah, see, it probably did. Listeners will probably think it was, but I didn't think it was.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We've got the whole voice issue again, haven't we? Going all the way back to, like, early episodes.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
Keeping on the theme of how good my mum is.
Right.
A couple of weeks ago, me and Kat went to London because one of my Christmas presents was 2 tickets to go and see The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime.
Okay, how was that?
It was good. It was interesting. The thing is, I haven't seen a lot of shows up London, but the ones I have seen, like Book of Mormon, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, they're like real lavish productions.
Yeah. And
amateurish is the wrong word, but like Curious Incident was a bit more independent, I guess. Like, if you think about it in like film terms, if we think Harry Potter, Book of Mormon, like blockbuster films, Curious Incident, more indie film.
Got you.
So it was good. I read the book like years ago when I was a teenager, I think, and I remember absolutely. I remembered none of it.
I didn't enjoy the book.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't remember. I just found it boring, if I remember rightly.
Well, I remember the big like selling point of the book is that it's written from the perspective of an autistic person, so it's written how they would write it.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the play is perhaps more accessible than the book because you're obviously watching, and there's other people going on, so it's sort of I don't know. It's maybe not as hard to get into as the book is.
Got you.
But yeah, it was good. Like the performers were all very good. And what they did with the actual stage itself was really interesting in that there wasn't like sets so much as it was all done with like, again, it's hard to describe without you having been there, but it was all like lights and like that, and like people would act as part of the scenery. Like if you had to like knock on a door and go through it, a person would act as the door, which I'm probably explaining in a way where it sounds terrible, but it did work really well. Okay. It was like a small...
honestly, to me, that sounds like utter tripe.
No, it was a small, like, cast, and they had, like several of them would have, like, different, like, a couple of roles each.
Yeah, like door, lamppost.
Yeah, exactly, chair.
See, now, I would think, if you were a small production, it would be easier to not hire people to be doors.
But they had other roles as well with, like, speaking bits. Just if they're not in this scene, you're a door now.
Is that not confusing when you're like,
there's
Sally, There's classic Sally. She's going to say something funny. Oh, no, wait, she's a door.
Honestly, the way it's done is in a way that you don't even really think about it as being odd.
I feel like I would think about it.
It's possible. But yeah, it was good. It was just different to what I've seen before.
Yeah. No, to be fair, I'm being deliberately a bit negative. It does sound quite interesting.
Yeah. So, thanks, Mother, for that present.
Thanks, Liam's mum.
That's kind of it for the mum-related stuff I've got. I don't know about yourself.
Yeah, I haven't got anything.
Alright. What else have we been up to, Jack?
Liam, got a Nintendo Switch.
Ooh.
And Zelda.
Well, yeah, there's like hardly any other games available at the moment.
Yeah, but that's not. I don't think that's as big a deal as you think it is. So.
Oh, it's not a big deal for me at all because I'm not buying it. I would have just thought.
Yeah, but you were complaining about it, about the lack of games. You said you thought it was silly.
No, I wouldn't do that.
You definitely did.
That doesn't sound like something I'd do.
Okay. Well, anyway, it's a pretty good console.
That's good.
Like, I like the portable mode. That's super useful. Like, I've played it more undocked and in my hands than I have with it on the TV.
Is there like a huge difference?
What? Well, yeah. One mode, you are projecting it, onto a big TV.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like picture quality. How much is there a difference between the two?
I think it looks like slightly less quality when it's in your hands, but not like drastically.
Okay.
Like, as in, obviously when it's scaled up, it looks nice still.
Yeah.
But when it's in, it looks fine when it's portable.
See, the thing is, like, obviously, I've never played one, never seen one, never touched one, so I have no like hands-on experience. But I watched a fair few reviews of it when it came out on YouTube and stuff, and a lot of people, the general kind of consensus seemed to be that it felt like it had been rushed out.
See, I don't know where you're seeing that because
so, for example,
I disagree, I haven't seen that.
One of the things that I've seen as a big complaint is, so there's a screen, isn't there, that you can like the handheld part is a bit screen, yeah?
Yeah.
And they're saying there's a cradle for it, and because the screen has been made of, like, I think plastic instead of glass or whatever, it therefore is really prone to scratching when you put it in the cradle.
Right, no, but see, okay, here's the thing, right? Are you talking about, because there was that video that me, you, and Dan Palmer saw, which was like a montage of all the people with problems?
No, I didn't watch that video.
Oh, okay.
This was a review
here's my
I
logic,
saw.
Right?
Yeah.
If someone's screen doesn't scratch,
yeah,
like mine hasn't, I'm not going to make a video or tweet or do a review where I go, my screen didn't scratch. So the stuff you're going to hear most is going to be the negatives.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think that's an issue. I have been taking, like I said, I've been playing mine portably, which means that I'm taking it in and out of its dock constantly. Yeah. Because I take it out, and then I charge it in that dock. So I'm constantly moving mine. I haven't scratched my screen once.
That's good.
Like, the other issue that I've seen people have is the two little control things. You attach them to the side of your screen, but you can slide them into another thing that makes them act like a controller in your hands.
You can sort of clip them together, can't you?
Yeah, that's the thing that makes it into a controller, basically.
Yeah.
And then you get these little sort of caps that go on them if you're using them just in your hands.
Yeah, you can have one on each hand. I've again, another review was saying that that's a really good thing for people with disabilities and stuff, but the person who was reviewing it was saying they really struggled to like adapt to that way of playing with it.
Yeah, but then don't play it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
What? I mean, yeah, that seems like nitpicking.
No, it was like, them saying it's good that this is a feature, just not a feature for me necessarily.
Yeah, but that's not a complaint.
It's a positive. No, I'm saying it was a positive.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Right. Okay. But then, so the other issue I've seen is people putting if you put the wrong cap on either controller, you can get it jammed on if you put it the wrong way up.
Right, okay.
But I haven't done that with mine, but my friend got one, and that was before that video and stuff had gone out, and I put one on the wrong one.
Yeah.
And I got it off really, really easily.
Well, that's good.
And I had jammed it on like I've seen people do. So I don't know. Again, that's another thing where I'm like, I don't know if people are doing it wrong or if I was just lucky. But to me, it didn't seem like that was as huge a deal as people were making out.
That's fair enough.
So I don't know. I always just wonder with things, when you see a lot of negatives about something like this, well, I do wonder how much of it is people being upset with the stuff that's gone wrong, or how many people are being upset because it's not what they wanted.
Yeah, well, how
many people are just being upset because that's getting views.
I watched a few reviews, and they were generally like, here's the positives, here's the negatives. And
yeah,
to be honest, like I said, the general consensus was, even though there are positives, the general consensus was that it felt like it had been rushed out.
Fair enough. I think those people are completely wrong then.
That's fair. Obviously, I'm saying like I have no hands-on experience with this because I'm not going to spend like £300 to play one game.
So when I said you didn't like the fact there were no games, you said that doesn't sound like something I would say, and it doesn't affect me because I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
What you actually meant to say was that is the one thing affecting me about the Switch.
Well, no, because even if they had other
I mean,
games,
you
I
literally
wouldn't
just
get
said
it.
the reason you're not getting it is that there is only one game,
I mean,
which is wrong.
It is
There's about
a reason.
4 or 5.
It is a reason. Like I was in the cinema the other day, and they were advertising Mario Kart for it. And then at the bottom, it was like Mario Kart's due out like April 28th. I was like, it's a month away. Why are you advertising that now? And then I realised it's because they've got nothing else to advertise.
I mean, chill out. What about films and trailers? They don't wait until a week before it comes out and go, oh, by the way, we're releasing this film.
In all honesty, I don't see a lot of like PlayStation, Xbox games being advertised, but it might just be because I don't sort of run in those circles.
Yeah, there's quite a few game advertisements. But then, to be fair, you don't watch like TV particularly,
exactly.
do you?
No.
So yeah, you're not going to see that many. You probably don't see a lot of things advertised that are
Yeah,
being
and I mean
advertised.
it's so rare that you see like a video game advertised at the cinema, and then when it's a video game that's not even out yet, I was like, well, what's the point of that?
Right. Well, that's insanely hypocritical.
Because it wasn't
of you as a
like it
film
wasn't
fan.
part of the trailers. It was like part of the like when
Yeah,
they're
the
advertising
adverts.
like the drinks and no, not the drinks and stuff.
Oh, Liam did a swear.
Yeah. So yeah. But I'm pleased you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
I do feel like, and I think we might have discussed this a little bit before, and I think you disagree, but I feel like Nintendo get given a lot of like leeway from people who, like, because Nintendo got them into gaming, people tend to be a bit more forgiving of Nintendo than perhaps like Sony and Microsoft.
You have said that to me before, and
Yeah.
I do fully disagree with you. I don't know where you get that from.
Just sort of general thoughts
Like,
that I have
the
in the
fact
shower.
that you said everything you've seen, the fact that you said all the reviews and stuff you've read have been people saying overall it seems like it was rushed out, that
Yeah.
to me would imply that you haven't seen that many people
but
being like,
these
oh, give them
people-
leeway, it's Nintendo.
These people have still gone out and actually brought the thing, haven't they? Whoa.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, they have, and also that's what everyone does with the PS4 and the Xbox One.
Again, I missed those releases because I wasn't really like thinking of getting.
Yeah, but you didn't buy this
console.
one either, Liam. So all you're
No.
proving is that you don't rush to buy consoles.
Yeah,
The rest of the world does it to everyone. That's what I mean. I don't necessarily disagree that people give Nintendo leeway, but I think you're insane to assume that people don't give their console of choice leeway. Because what everyone does is you buy a console, right? And then
Yeah.
you want to, because you've spent so much money on it, no matter what console, you've spent a lot of money on it, no one wants to turn around and go, I made a terrible mistake and spent £400 on
Yeah.
a console that's rubbish.
Yeah.
So even if you got a rubbish console, I reckon most people would try and find the positives in it, which means they have
Yeah.
to give the company leeway, which means all game companies, like console companies, get that leeway.
And there we have it. That's why Jack's review of the Switch is so positive.
No, because you said it was people that got into gaming through Nintendo, and I didn't own a Nintendo 64. I had a PS1, and then I had a PS2, then I had an Xbox 360. So actually, Liam, I didn't get into Nintendo.
Did you have a Game Boy?
Yeah, that got me into portable gaming, not into their... You think a Game Boy stands... You think people got into console gaming through Game Boys?
Some did. I didn't have an
No,
N64.
nope. Not going to let you get away with some did. I don't think people bought a Game Boy and went, you know what, this makes me love consoles. I think they went, this makes me love portable gaming.
No, but maybe they were like, this makes me love Nintendo.
No,
Oh,
that's
maybe.
insane.
Well, no, because it's not like there's not like games that go cross-platform. You have certain games on Game Boy that also reappeared on consoles, like Mario, for
Oh,
example.
okay, well, if we're doing that, then the games that I owned on Game Boy that I played were Pokemon, not Nintendo, that's Game Freak.
It's only been
then
released
I
on
had,
Nintendo stuff, though, right?
Then I had Star Wars, which was not a great game, but I used to love. Formula 1 Racing, that wasn't a Nintendo license. I had did I have a James Bond game? Possibly. I think there might have been one on Game Boy that I owned. So, actually, Liam, I didn't own any Nintendo games on my goddamn Game Boy.
Well, that's your problem.
Yeah, but that was your whole point, was that it made me love Nintendo. It didn't.
I'm not saying it made you love Nintendo. I'm saying the people that do love Nintendo, I think a lot of them, and I'm thinking this with no basis or research or anything, a lot of them have a lot of goodwill to it because they have history with Nintendo.
Yeah, and I think that assumption is fundamentally flawed.
That's fair enough. Have you got anything else to say on Zelda? Because I don't think you've discussed that a lot.
No, Zelda's really good.
That's good.
I think you would love Zelda.
The thing is, I've tried so many times with Zelda.
No. But the way this Zelda works compared to other Zelda games is totally different.
Okay. The thing
You
is,
would love it because you love going and like not
Exploring.
following the story and exploring everything, which this game is pretty much like you can follow the main quest, but it's set up a lot more like you're just in the world. There's where the quest is, but if you want to go and do all the other stuff, go do it.
yeah, I think with Nintendo, they would probably get my money if they implemented like the PlayStation trophy system or the Xbox achievement system.
Yeah, you've said this before. I don't want to have this discussion again because you know my opinions on it.
Yeah,
I think all the listeners do as well.
But here's the thing, Jack, right? For them to add that, it's not like that's going to affect your gameplay.
I'm not saying that I don't want it because it'll affect my gameplay. I just don't think they need it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if it's going to get... Because I never like to think of myself as a
I
unique
don't think
snowflake.
No. But this is the issue that we always come back to. Is again, you're making the assumption that there's millions of people out there who are like you and going, "I'm not buying this console because it doesn't have trophies."
I don't think that's why they're not buying it, but I think it would...
Right. Well, then they don't need to implement it.
I think it would maybe give people...
I don't think it would. I think that's
reason.
a completely ridiculous statement that you're making there. I think that's honestly insane.
Well, happy Mother's Day.
This is what the Kevster family's like, so this is fine.
Well, my family is a bit less argumentative.
Good. That means you won't be arguing this episode.
No, it doesn't. Did we do anything else?
I, Liam, am on holiday this week.
Oh, that's nice.
Have been for 11 days. Well, I will be for 11 days. Will not be in work. It's wonderful. I'm very relaxed.
Is that 11 working days, or is it you including weekends?
No, it's 7 working days, so then
Okay.
with the weekends.
It's still very nice, though.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
But with that time, Liam, I have been watching The Walking Dead.
Oh, well, that's going to make some of our listeners very happy.
You and Mark.
I mean,
Kat, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. There's probably other listeners, maybe.
I don't think many people care that much, but
Nah.
I've finished season 6 and then made a deal with you where to replicate or to at least try to experience some of the waiting that everyone had with the year wait.
Yeah.
I have not watched any more for 2 days. It's now 3.
To be fair, it wasn't a year wait, it was 5 months, but still.
Oh, that's not even that long. What are you moaning about?
Oh, it felt long. The thing is, right...
Because the season finale of season 6, it is a cliffhanger.
Yes, and a lot of people complained about that.
What, that it was a cliffhanger?
Yeah, they got real bad backlash because it was a cliffhanger.
I don't think they needed backlash because
I think it's genius.
I don't know. We were having, because I said to you, I find it interesting. I don't have an opinion on what I'm about to say. I don't think it's particularly bad or good what they did.
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting that I'm going to try and phrase this. I don't know how to put it in words properly, so this might sound weird.
Okay.
It's interesting that a TV show, the whole premise of a TV show is you're in that world, and you're taking entertainment by watching this sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's weird that they use the real world in that they knew there was a 5-month wait. So they make a cliffhanger. This isn't specifically Walking Dead. This is anything that uses the cliffhanger endings.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that the whole premise is you're being taken into their world and basically, not living in your world for a little while.
Yeah.
But they use the real world to have an impact on the show. Because I could have just watched the next episode and not had that.
Yeah.
And that would have then been that would have been a different experience to everyone else.
Yeah, but equally, you think at some point down the road, someone will watch the show from the beginning to the end once it's all finished, and we'll have no gaps whatsoever.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So their then experience of that episode will be completely different to yours.
Yeah. And
that's kind of so I sort of get the anti-cliffhanger argument, but then at the same time, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing that they do them. But it would be interesting to get someone's opinion who didn't have who just went straight into season 7.
See,
because I would be interested to see if they were well, that wasn't that good. Because
what I liked about the cliffhanger is that it keeps you thinking and talking about the show during the 5-month gap. Because basically, right, for those that haven't watched it, it ends with that someone is going to get hurt. You don't know who. And for people like myself and Kat and Mark, I think, who watched it sort of in real time, that then provided a lot of discussion for us as, theorising, and it was fun to talk about and kind of hypothesise what could happen next when the show's not on. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Because
here's the issue. So the issue specifically that I have with this cliffhanger is it like you can theorize all you want, but the premise of the cliffhanger was that he was doing it at random.
Yeah.
So you can't sit there like the discussion you can have is just who did he pick through chance, not like. Whereas it would have been more interesting if he'd either said something or there was some implication or some thing where you could then go, oh, who's he talking? Like, what was he implying with that thing? Because this, I can't see there being a discussion. Like I've said to people, you and Dan mainly, that I've caught up to that bit.
Yeah.
And I'm not sitting there going, oh, I wonder who it is. All I said was, if it's these two characters, I'm going to be bummed out. And that's it. Like, to me, it has almost no impact because it's happened. It doesn't even end with, will it happen? It ends with him hurting that person. You just don't know who it was.
But so when we were discussing it, basically, we were kind of trying to figure out who it was by looking at the clues. So there's like a little line of dialogue right at the end. And we were like, well, surely that's got to kind of rule out this person and that person, surely. And the other thing you've got to think about is we've all read the comics as well.
Yeah, so you were then, because that's what Dan said, was people that read the comics were then like, well, I know who gets hurt in the comics. Yeah,
exactly. And we were basically discussing it more along the lines of, because what I think the show did really well with the last half of season 6 is that there were certain parts that were kept very close to the comics. Particularly that last episode. And for me, I think the show is at its strongest when it's drawing heavily from the comics. And there are some like unique things the show has done that they do really well, but I think it's always strongest either when they're doing what the comic does or when they do that, but then they also include some of their new elements into it to see how that sort of pans out.
Yeah.
So for us, it was a discussion of, right, do you think the show will kind of do what the comics did, or will it go its own way? And then you start kind of going along the discourse of, well, if it does this, what impact will that have to further storylines?
Yeah.
But again, so that's one of the things I was wondering, is if, for you, who hasn't got to that part in the comics yet, if that kind of lessens the impact. Because I know both myself and Kat, we found the finale incredibly tense because we kind of could anticipate to an extent what was coming.
Yeah.
But obviously we didn't know if it would stick or not.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it was tense. Like, they build a lot of tension in that episode anyway.
Yeah, I honestly think that's for me, one of the greatest hours of TV I've seen.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll need to see. Like, there are still issues with some of the stuff. Like, so I love The Walking Dead when it's being not realistic because it's a world full of zombies.
Yeah.
But like, because I loved this season. Like, this is going to sound like I didn't, but I really enjoyed season 6. I thought it was really good.
That's good.
But there are a couple of issues that happen in it that I was like, it almost felt like not cartoony. That's the wrong word, but just sort of like a little bit too much of a leap. Like
exaggerated.
Like when they get the RPG. And I was like, really? Like, that's fine. Having it is fine. It's when they then use it in a situation. And when that happened, I was like, oh, that just feels like such a, like almost like is it Deus Ex Machina?
Yeah. Like,
it felt a little bit too like, oh, we found this thing. And that is the perfect answer to this situation you're stuck in.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying.
That scene specifically sort of really yanked me out of the show again, where I was like, oh, don't do that.
Yeah,
that's resolve it the way you usually do stuff in these sort of really, not dark, but like how do people resolve these situations?
Yeah, I mean, I've always had issues with the show. Like, the first season I loved, and then ever since, it was a show that I thought was okay, but I wasn't a big fan. And that was until season 6. Like, season 6 really turned me around with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's still kind of issues, but I guess for me, I had so many issues with so much else of the show. To have only a couple of issues this season was wonderful.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I'm pleased you're kind of enjoying it, and you're catching up now. So when are you allowed to watch the next episode?
It's been 3 days now, so today.
Okay, so you're going to let me know your thoughts?
Yeah, probably.
Good, I look forward to that.
What have you been up to this week, Liam?
I've had a real poopy week, Jack.
Why, buddy? What? I mean, I know because we've been talking about it.
But for the sake of the show,
let's pretend. Yeah, let's go in fiction.
Yeah.
What's wrong with your week, Liam?
For the last week now, Jack, an entire week, I have had no internet. Now, this wouldn't be as big of an issue if it wasn't for the fact that most of my week has been spent chasing my internet provider, trying to get it fixed. If they'd said day one, here's the issue, really sorry, we can't get it fixed until this date for this reason, that would have been absolutely fine, Jack. I wouldn't have been happy about it, but what could I have done?
Yeah, they have been messing you around.
Yeah, instead, I've had engineers come. They didn't know what the solution was. They had to book different engineers who didn't show up. I then booked another engineer, and my internet provider just decided to cancel that appointment because why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? So now I'm waiting for a third engineer to be sent tomorrow. Maybe. Who knows? But the thing is, I have probably been spending hours every day talking to them, trying to get to the bottom of this. Because when they cancel, like, an engineer, they don't tell you they've done that, Jack. You have to ring up and just be like, just double checking the engineer's still coming tomorrow. At which point they say, nah, we haven't got any record of that.
Right, I still don't understand why the engineer got cancelled. Like, on their end. That's not me blaming you. Cause
no, honestly,
it's not your fault.
The reason I was given is because when I booked the engineer, I also lodged a formal complaint, and then last night, for whatever reason, they just decided to cancel that formal complaint, which also cancelled the engineer booking.
Yeah.
Now, I don't understand how that makes any sort of sense.
Yeah, because assumedly your complaint is, I don't have internet.
Yes.
And you still don't have internet.
Yeah, and my complaint was also the fact that they were not keeping me up to date with the situation.
Yeah, right.
So they sort of proved their own complaint.
Yes, because they didn't keep you informed about the fact that they had cancelled the engineer.
Yeah. So it's just been like really, really frustrating. Trying to talk like I had a 25-minute conversation with someone who phoned me, and it's quite ironic now looking back. So Tuesday morning I booked the engineer for Thursday. Then Tuesday afternoon I had a 25-minute conversation where someone phoned me back to try and book an engineer for Friday. And I had to spend 25 minutes explaining to them, don't need it, already got one booked for Thursday.
Yeah.
So it's just been painful, Jack.
It's not ideal, mate.
It's when you work from home and you're kind of reliant on the internet, to pay the bills, really not good.
No.
So
also when it pushes back your podcast recording by like a week and a half.
Yeah, this is why this episode will be going up late. So I'm sorry, it's my fault. There's no getting around that.
Well, it's not your fault. It's your internet provider's fault.
Yeah, but it's my responsibility, I guess.
No, it's theirs.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if someone's going to blame one of the two of us, it's got to be me, not you, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But personally, I think blame said internet service provider.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, big shout out to Amanda, who last night started jumping on Twitter and having a go at them on my behalf.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Because she made a very good point in that when I'm on the phone to them and they tell me that the Thursday engineer is cancelled and they don't know why, the response shouldn't have been, let's send you out someone on Friday. It should have been, we'll get an engineer sent out Thursday and get that rectified for you.
100%, yeah.
If they had good customer service.
Yeah, we appear to have accidentally cancelled this thing.
Yeah.
Because assumedly the reason they couldn't is that either all their engineers were then booked to do other stuff on Thursday.
Yeah.
But you were on that list first.
Exactly.
So I guess their logic is we don't want to upset two people.
Yeah, but equally...
But that's the wrong attitude because it messes you over.
And equally, you would think, have someone on standby for emergencies.
Yeah.
And send them. Because, looking at the way this situation has been dealt with and looking at their sort of Twitter feed and how many other complaints they've had, it's not like this is a one-off complaint. Like, a lot of people are constantly sort of having issues. So have a good few sort of standbys backed up ready.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think the biggest problem is this is like I think for the whole country like the main internet provider, and they don't really have much competition. Like you can go to a different provider, but they're using this company's lines still.
Oh, okay.
So if you don't have like competition, then of course you can just get away with whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean that's the same stuff that's going on in America with their big ones in it, like AT&T and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
They just have such a monopoly that they go,
Yeah, who cares? What can you do? Because we could go to a different like company to provide our internet, but if there's an issue with the lines, that company then has to go to these guys, and you're just adding another person into the mix then.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a frustrating week. But before my internet went, thankfully the night before, we guested on another show, didn't we?
We did.
On Atlantic Screen Connection, which is a podcast. Honestly, I'd recommend it because I genuinely do enjoy listening to them, and that's not just me.
They're really good.
Yeah, that's not just me sort of sucking up to them because they let us on their show. Like, I've been listening for months now, so if you're not, go give them a try. And the best episode to try is probably the one that we're guesting on, so go give that a listen.
I mean, I get, yeah.
Yeah?
It might not be a great example of what they usually do, because they had to have us two Muppets on.
Yeah, but you know, what I'm thinking is if that episode does really well, maybe they'll get us on again.
That's true, yeah.
So everyone who listens to this should go and listen to that 5 times, really.
Yeah, do it.
Because I think it's all well and good listening to it once, but there's bound to be things that you'll miss out on that it would benefit you going back for a second listen, if not more.
Yeah, it's like Arrested Development. Like, we had a lot of sort of subtle jokes that you're not going to get on your first time round, but second time you're like, oh, they were referencing the fact that later on they talk about this.
Or maybe even you won't get it on your second time. It's possible you'll never get it, but just keep listening and find out.
Keep going till you do.
Yeah. But no, it was a lot of fun being on the show.
It was, yeah.
We spoke in great detail about Kong Skull Island.
Yep.
So if you want to hear, like, our thoughts on that, that's the place to do it. Do you know what else we spoke about though, Jack? Godzilla. And how did you find that whole experience?
Good. How do you mean?
Well, you were very like, oh, buddy, you know, we've all got the same opinions. And then there's me, like a gimp, just sat here by myself.
Well,
like,
no.
I disagree with all of you.
To be fair, whilst the general opinions that I had with Jason and Lee were similar, like, us three didn't particularly like Kong, and we all liked Godzilla.
Yeah.
I think it was less a case of like 3-on-1 or Liam's wrong, because the reasons that Jason and Lee gave for liking and disliking them were very different to the reasons that I had.
That's true.
So like, instead of it being like, oh, look at Liam, the idiot who doesn't like this film, they were very much like, why didn't you like it, Liam? And then
they were like, oh, what a stupid reason.
I don't think they said. I think if anyone had stupid opinions on stuff, it was probably me.
Nah, I think you're fine. But yeah, I did feel like you got on great with them, and I was a bit like,
what do you mean? We all got on great.
Yeah, I just felt like I wasn't trying to be, but I felt like I was being difficult.
Oh yeah, but that's just you.
Yeah, that's true. But it honestly wasn't deliberate. So like,
no.
Listen,
I don't think you're
way.
deliberately difficult when we're doing this show. I just think you are difficult.
Possibly.
I don't think you're doing it on purpose. You can't help it. It's who you are.
It's true. But it was a lot of fun.
It was very good.
I'm hoping that we'll get them to guest on our show at some point.
Yes, definitely.
So keep your ears peeled for that.
Yep.
Also, if either of our mothers do happen to listen to this, how good is that we got to go on another show? Like, come on, that's pretty good, right? Be proud of us. Thank you.
I don't need to beg for my mum's pride.
I do.
That's sort of depressing for the Mother's Day episode. Carry on, Liam.
I went to the cinema, didn't I?
Did you, Liam?
Yeah, I saw technically 4 films since we recorded last, because again we're recording a bit late, so that's giving me a bit of extra time. But one of those films I'm not going to talk about here. I'm going to talk about later.
Okay.
So the first film I saw, well, we both saw, because you've been to the cinema as well. Let's not forget.
Yeah, I also have been to the cinema.
A couple of times.
Yes.
So let's do the one we both saw first. So, right, first, we both saw Kong Skull Island. And again, like we've just said, go listen to Atlantic Screen Connection for like a real deep dive into our thoughts and opinions on that.
Yeah.
But quick, like, overview, what would you say, Jack?
Bad.
Out of 5?
That's an interesting question, Liam.
Yeah.
2.5, maybe?
That's not bad. That's average, right?
Well, no, we disagree on what average is, don't we?
Well, no, but that's using your definition of average, 2.5, because that's smack bang in the middle, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. Because I didn't enjoy it.
Well, 2.5.
Maybe it's a 2.
Much.
Maybe it's a 2, below the middle point. It wasn't the worst film I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I probably won't watch it again.
And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great fun. Just a real fun movie. Like the complete opposite of Godzilla, which was just boring. And I would give it a 4 out of 5. So do you want to do
That's
the film?
so high.
Well, I just super enjoyed it, Jack. Like I was just sat there with a huge grin on my face. Look, I can't help what I like.
Right, fair enough. What else did you go and see, Liam? Oh, wait.
Should we do yours?
Yeah, what else did you go... Okay, Liam.
What did you go and see, Jack?
I went and saw Logan.
What did you think? Because I've discussed it before on last week's episode.
Yeah, I don't remember what you said about it, to be honest.
I liked it.
Cool. I liked it as well. I thought it was really good.
Any other thoughts?
It was a good send off to Wolverine and Charles Xavier, unless they bring him back for whatever reason, even though he said he isn't going to.
Well, I've heard that Hugh Jackman has said he'd only consider coming back if they could figure out the licensing and get the X-Men and the Avengers in a film together, which is probably never going to happen.
No, that's fair.
Which is a shame, because that would make so much money.
Yeah. But I'm kind of glad. I feel like Marvel would have to do what they're doing with Spider-Man and make it their own thing.
Yeah.
But, this film was legitimately really good. Seeing Wolverine as this, older character was interesting.
Yeah.
Seeing what happened to Charles. It's slightly darker than the old X-Men's, which is good.
Yeah, and I think while it's not good because of the rating it got, where it's gone for a bit more of an adult audience, it definitely allowed the film to tackle some more interesting themes than you would generally get from this sort of thing.
Yeah, it also makes more sense with Wolverine.
Definitely, he's always
because it's got to have been difficult for them in the past.
Yeah,
to be we've got a character that literally has knife arms, effectively.
Yeah, I think in my review last time I said he's always felt neutered to me.
Yeah,
and this is the first time they've actually just allowed him to, act how you would expect someone with knives shooting out their hands to act.
Yeah. It also has my favourite character in the X-Men franchise in the film, which is X-23. So.
Okay. What did you think of the girl that played her?
She's a lot younger than the one in the comics, but she was good. She was for a child actor.
Yeah.
She was pretty good.
Yeah. I think the thing about Logan is it emphasises something that I've said for a while now, where a lot of people are getting again, this is generalising, maybe not a lot of people are, but to me it seems like there's a bit of a superhero fatigue setting in.
Yeah, I think that is you generalising, but yeah.
Yeah, but we are getting a lot of superhero films, and I think Logan is good proof. Again, like with Deadpool and others, where the superhero genre is broad enough that you can do sort of different takes on it without just doing a cookie cutter template like you tend to get with certain other big franchises.
Well, me and you disagree on that, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, bearing in mind, technically Logan is still a Marvel film.
Yeah, no, but me and you disagree on the fact that I don't necessarily think they are doing cookie cutter films, but that's neither here nor there.
No, exactly.
I do agree that this film was really good.
Yeah.
And wasn't what you would consider one of the cookie cutter films.
I kind of hope that it gives other superhero franchises a bit of confidence to go that little bit darker, that little bit further, push the rating. If you end up with an R rating or a 15 over in this country, there's still an audience for that.
Yeah.
Because I honestly don't think we'll ever get this, but I would love to see an R-rated take on Batman.
See, I've been thinking about this, and I don't know. I don't know if he some stuff. It's going to feel like they're just pushing for the R rating. I think that the issue we've got is people are seeing the R-rated comic book films doing well.
Yeah.
So I could easily see a director pushing for an R-rated Batman, not because he thinks Batman would work as an R-rated film, just because he's I could, and it would be.
Yeah,
R-rated.
The thing is,
so I don't think they should try for it. I think they should just do good Batman films.
It depends on the story.
If it becomes an R-rated film, go.
It depends on the story, because I would love to see a Batman film that focuses a lot more on the detective side of it, and I can't remember the villain's name. It's the guy that cuts himself with
Calendar Man.
No, he has a tally that he uses.
The Riddler.
For how many people he's killed, and he
Yeah, no, he's called it's Zed something.
Yeah, Zaza or something.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
I would love to see a film where it's Batman kind of trying to hunt him down, but it's more focused on the detective side of it.
Yeah.
Because he's the world's greatest detective, and in all honesty,
he doesn't do much detecting.
Yeah. So, I'm thinking, imagine Seven, but instead of Brad Pitt, you've got Batman. You can't tell me that wouldn't be an interesting film.
It would be interesting. I don't know if it'd be good.
I have high hopes. But anyway,
I would not be as moved by that end scene if Brad Pitt had been wearing a Batman costume.
Oh no, that would have been cool though. What's in the box?
Tell me where she is.
That would have been brilliant. See, it could work.
Jesus.
Alright, back to Logan. Out of 5?
4.
Good, I think we agree on that.
Cool.
I saw
Ben
Wheatley's new film, Free Fire.
Not heard of it, don't know what it is.
So do you know who Ben Wheatley is?
No.
So Ben Wheatley has directed a film that I really enjoyed called Sightseers.
Okay.
And then he's done some films that I didn't enjoy so much, like Kill List, I wasn't a big fan of. High Rise, I saw last year, so there's a good chance.
Oh, I've heard of High Rise, but I haven't watched it.
I think I might have reviewed it for the podcast, perhaps.
Oh, maybe.
I wasn't a big fan. Like, A Field in England is another one. Again, like I always struggle with his films, apart from Sightseers. And Free Fire seemed to be a bit more pitched. Again, more like Sightseers was quite comedic, like a dark comedy, and Free Fire seemed to be pitched in that sort of vein. I'll be honest, the big draw for me to see it was the fact that it has Brie Larson in it.
Okay.
Essentially, the film is about someone from Ireland is in America trying to buy guns, set in the late 70s, and that deal goes wrong. It all takes place in a warehouse, pretty much, and it's all about these different characters and how wrong this deal goes and how it basically turns into a big shootout.
Okay.
The issue is the film is really good for the first 20 minutes or so, where it's a lot more dialogue focused, a lot more getting to know these characters and their exchanges with each other. It takes a bit of a dive when the shooting happens, and then it's only 90 minutes long, but by the end you kind of feel like the premise has outstayed its welcome.
Got you. Yeah, I can see that if pretty much the whole film's in the warehouse.
Yeah, I honestly kind of wish that they'd maybe left a bit longer for the shootout to happen, because it just was really funny up until that point. It's got Sharlto Copley in it, who you would know from District 9, perhaps.
Oh, okay.
He's great. He's really funny. I was actually surprised Armie Hammer is in it, who... what were you going to know for? He was in The Social Network.
Haven't seen that.
Okay, he's in other stuff, but I don't know what you would have seen. I was surprised at how funny he was. And Sam Riley is another guy who was really good in it. I just always seem to have issues with Ben Wheatley in that he'll start off like Kill List, same thing. He starts off doing something really interesting, and then by the end, you just don't care.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with this. So I'll give it 3 out of 5, because I did like, probably about a good half or so. But yeah, a lot of people I've seen are really raving about it, and it didn't quite work for me.
Fair enough.
Next film I saw was Get Out.
Yep, I've been seeing a lot about that.
Yeah, I thought it seems to have got a lot of buzz, which is kind of rare for horror films.
Yeah.
It's good. I enjoyed the first 2 acts a lot. Then something happens, and the last act, to me, didn't quite live up to the first 2 acts.
Okay.
Like it slightly changes what it's trying to do, and it works like with the idea of the film. It's just it feels like the film is kind of leading you down a certain path, and then when it kind of switches, you're kind of like, at least I like Kat had very different views, and she really appreciated that it kind of kept wrong foot in her. I was a bit more like, I liked the path we were on, and I liked the direction where I thought we were going. So it's a bit annoying that now we're doing something a little bit different that I don't think is working as well as what could have worked.
Okay.
But well directed. The main guy in it, Daniel Kaluuya, he was fantastic. Also has Alison Williams in, who I think she's kind of got known for being in the HBO series Girls.
Yeah, I know her.
She is like super sexy, and particularly in this film, just yep. 3.5 out of 5.
Oh, fair enough. That seems lower than the sort of general consensus.
Yeah, again, I'm aware that the issues...
I'm not saying you're wrong. I was just...
The issues I have with it are very personal, and are very much like... I totally see what the director was trying to do. I just don't think it was the strongest play he could have made. But it's really...
Was it because you had a similar experience when Kat introduced you to her parents?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
The thing is, it's very hard to discuss without kind of spoiling like what my issues were. So I'm having to...
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm having to be quite cagey. But, and again, like Mark saw it, and I said to him exactly as I've said here, where like the first 2 acts I loved, third act did something that I didn't quite appreciate, and after he saw it, he was like, this is the thing that you didn't appreciate. So it's obvious, but for someone like Mark, for example, he said it didn't affect his enjoyment of the film, and he still loved it.
Fair enough.
So I'm aware that it's my issues. Like most things in life.
Yeah.
So that was all the films I saw at the cinema.
Very good.
Housekeeping.
Now, Liam, you don't have internet this week, so the job of housekeeping has fallen to me.
It has. I would like to start by saying that film that I said I'd talk about later was Moonlight.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
After Amanda's feedback, when I first saw Moonlight, and after it won the Best Picture Oscar, I decided to go and see it again to just see if I could figure out what I'd missed. I brought Kat along with me to see if how she reacted to it, and I have to say, I think Kat sent in her thoughts.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I'll let you read those out. But for me, I still don't get it. Like, I still thought it was a totally fine, decent film. Just it wasn't for me Best Picture winner.
Fair enough. Well, shall I read out Kat's thoughts?
Yeah, sure.
So Kat says, here are my views on Moonlight. Good film. Not great, but fine. Understand the importance of the story, but felt it could have been told better without quite so many drawn out scenes. I had issues with big chunks of the character's story being skipped to fit the 3-part structure. I wanted more of Chiron?
Chiron, I think.
I wanted more of Chiron's relationship with Juan and Kevin as a teenager. Performances were good. Understand some of the hype behind Mahershala Ali's performance, but he also wasn't around for as long as I'd have liked. Overall, probs about 3.5 out of 5. Wouldn't feel the need to see it again, whereas with La La Land, I saw it several times and would still go see it again.
So now Amanda's going to come and tell us why we were wrong.
Yes. Amanda says, Moonlight is a masterpiece. It's beautifully written, shot, acted and directed. It featured one of my favourite scores of the year and 2 of my favourite performances. Mahershala Ali as Juan. This one's for you, Jack. Liam, you were wrong about his acting and role. Mahershala Ali does so much with a complicated character in a short amount of time, thus why he won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. It's not a super flashy performance, but we see the delicate balance between Juan being the alpha male drug dealer and also helping this poor kid know that it's okay to be gay. Juan is Little's saving grace. The thing with this is I don't know any of these characters, so
I know.
Who is Little a person?
Yeah.
Okay. Juan is Little's saving grace and a contributor to his broken home life. His final scene at the table is just heartbreaking. The second performance is Andre Holland as adult Kevin. He's nurturing, sexy, and he could cook me dinner any time. The cinematography is brilliant. The way the camera shoots from Shira to POV through each of the 3 sections. Yep. The camera is always at the height of his eye lines. The use of colour and lighting rivals what La La Land did this year as well. And then there's the story. One that isn't told enough, especially here in America. I have friends who have never seen their story told until now.
The thing is, right?
Yeah, go on.
I totally see where Amanda's coming from. And I do think it's really good that... It's exactly like I was saying in my first review. And do you remember we had a bit of discussion, we weren't sure if I was accidentally being offensive or not, where I was saying it's taken quite a marginalised story and shining a light on it, and I think for that reason alone it should be commended. But also for that reason alone, you can't say it's a great film. There has to be more to it. And I guess for Amanda and everyone else who's seen it and loved it, there was. For me, there was nothing about it that was that exceptional. It was all just good.
As someone who hasn't seen it,
yeah,
right, here is my take on Moonlight, Liam.
Perfect, I can't wait.
Everyone in the world, Liam,
yeah,
is different, and
yes.
Different people like different things.
Different.
So it's not necessarily a bad thing
for different folks.
Don't fucking butt in. Damn it, I swore. Don't butt in on my point.
So, Jack.
No problem. Everyone's different. Everyone likes different things. It's not a bad thing that you didn't like Moonlight. You don't need to keep defending yourself about not liking it. Yeah, but you didn't love it. Okay, yeah. It's not a bad thing that you didn't love it. You don't need to keep defending why you only thought it was good, not great.
Yeah.
So don't worry. Stop forcing yourself to go and rewatch this film.
But what I'm curious about is have you got an inkling to go and watch it now?
No, I'll probably watch it eventually.
Okay, because I would.
It doesn't sound like my kind of film. It hasn't got enough aliens in it, Liam, as you like to point out.
I mean, you're not wrong,
well,
but I guess if I'm pointing that out, I'm not wrong. Anything else in housekeeping?
No, I think that's it.
I've been playing more Witcher 3.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm starting to make a bit more progress with it in that, because I got to that final area, or not final, but the third area that you open up. A lot of the groundwork I'd laid for getting certain trophies and stuff are now paying off. So even though it was all progress, now I'm actually getting rewarded for my progress. So I'm liking it more.
Also, Liam, I'd like to point out what you've said to me, which is that you actually like the area Skellige.
Yeah, it's the thing. Right, here's the
thing. It's weird that, isn't it?
Yeah, but right.
It's almost like someone asked you before we filmed the episode to please just go to Skellige and then go back and do all the stuff you'd set up. And I think someone on the podcast said they wouldn't do that.
They did
and then
because...
they've reviewed it negatively, have complained for months about the game, and then turn around and go, actually, that area's pretty good.
Which is in all fairness, like, a good review then, because I'm not just, like, blindly sticking to my original thoughts.
You didn't go, oh, the bit that I've done sucks. You'd be like, this game's rubbish, I don't like it.
There's still issues with it, Jack. Like...
Yeah, there are. But
as
it annoyed me that I asked you to go to this area just to experience it, to get the views on this, so that we could have a reasonable discussion, including Skellige, and you refused.
Too many other things I had to do, and there's not enough hours.
No, there weren't.
There
were definitely not. No, I asked you, like, days before we recorded. I said, please just go to Skellige.
Jack, here's the thing.
You had the quest to do it, you
Jack.
just refused because you were doing side quests.
Well, because, right, as we've discussed, The Witcher 3 contains a lot of missable things, and there is not a chance in hell I'm going to risk missing anything to then have to go back and play through the first 50 hours I've done.
You wouldn't have missed them by going to Skellige.
No, sometimes it shuts off certain quests when you do things like that.
Right, we'll see. I don't believe you.
I was like looking online at like what not to do to miss certain things, and it was saying make sure you've got this done before you do this.
So make a separate save.
Oh, that's a lot of effort.
No, it isn't.
Anyway, but then I'd just been
you go
repeating
save,
myself.
New file.
I'd have had to repeat myself then, wouldn't I?
No, what?
Yeah, because...
None of these points are good defence for reviewing something, Liam.
Right, but this is why we've got housekeeping, because I can then retcon these reviews.
Whatever.
So, the thing is, I still stand by all my original points. I'm just saying...
Yeah, that's fine.
Like, and I think I figured out that the biggest issue that The Witcher 3 has, in my opinion, is that you essentially have one huge map, and then, like, say, two reasonably sized maps. You've got, like, the starting area, and then Skellige. The huge map, they kind of try and split in two, where the top half of it is, like, a huge city, which essentially just gives you a bunch of quests to then push you back into the other half of that map to then complete those quests. And I genuinely feel that the game would be a lot better if it took out all the city stuff, and you just had three reasonably sized maps.
Cool. I don't know what you want me to say, Liam.
No, that's just my thoughts. That's the end of my thoughts on The Witcher 3.
I'm bored of hearing your thoughts about Witcher 3. Start playing new games.
It's such a long game. And unlike you, Jack, I like to finish these things that I start.
Yeah.
So I will carry on playing it until I finish it, and you can carry on listening to my thoughts as I do that journey. Because
I'm going to start cutting them out. This is the last week you talk about Witcher 3, because I'm going to start cutting it out.
Because, Jack, when I do complete it, I'll then be able to give a very accurate review of all of it.
Yeah, that's fine. Once you've completed it, Liam, you can do... I will let that bit still be in the episode. But this is the last time, listeners. This is a promise from Jack, who is the editor. I promise you won't have to hear Liam make the same points about Witcher 3 week in, week out until he finishes the game.
If that is the case...
At which point, what we'll get, listeners, you're all excited, being like, Liam will give his final thoughts. What he will say is, I still have all the same issues, but I have finished the game and I got all the trophies. That's what he'll say.
I'm hoping. Yeah, if I've missed one of these trophies, I'm going to be livid. No?
I mean, that would be my favourite thing. It would be so funny if you missed a trophy. And it was like a really obvious one as well.
Can I just say, though...
Or Gwent. How good would it have been if you missed one of the Gwent trophies without realising?
I still don't have it yet. So
that would be so good!
Right. If I'm not allowed to talk about it anymore, I would just like to say...
Yes.
The issue I have with the combat still exists, because
That's fine.
I took on an enemy that was like a skull level, and I beat them with no weapons, no spells, just fist fighting, and that shouldn't be a thing.
No, it should, because it's not... I think the mistake you're making there is treating an action RPG like it's just an RPG.
I don't know, but I was
because the difference, because an action RPG also factors your skill in.
I don't have a lot of skill.
No, well, clearly you do if you beat the thing, Liam. I'm not necessarily saying you're great at the game. I'm just saying that you've clearly figured out how to fight in that situation, right?
No, the issue is the enemy had like 3 patterns of attack, and it was real easy to just...
Yeah, that's fine. That's a standard video game thing.
Well, I don't know. I don't think I should have been able to beat a skull level enemy at my level, but that's just... whatever. That's the end of my thoughts on The Witcher 3. I might...
Good, right, let's move on.
I might infer the housekeeping, just be like, I've been playing Witcher 3, but then that'll be it until I complete it.
That's fine. We just won't do housekeeping till you're done with Witcher 3.
Well, no, because we still got to do the tweets and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. What about, did you read any more Hellblazer?
No, I need to get the second one.
I found, I lost it when we moved, but I found it the other day, my 3rd volume of Berserk.
Oh, okay.
So I might give that a read soon.
Cool. Let me know what that's like.
Yeah, and that's it for my housekeeping.
Very good, Liam.
Thank you.
Culture swap.
Swap my culture.
Liam,
Yes.
We did, for our Mother's Day special episode for mothers.
Yes.
Get your mum to listen.
She'll love it.
We did. She will. All mothers do, except mine.
And
We
mine.
did. I thought your mum liked 50 Shades.
Oh, I thought you meant the podcast.
Oh, no. I meant this film.
Yeah, no, my mum did like 50 Shades of Grey, but unfortunately, I asked her to email us why, and she refused.
Oh, my mum just said I didn't like it.
Well.
So, that's good. Our mother's input has been critical to this episode. Anyway, listeners, we did 50 Shades of Grey. We watched it.
Yep.
The whole of it. All of it.
All of it.
Good Lord, all of it.
We didn't watch the sequel.
Nope, and hopefully we never will.
Well, next Mother's Day, Jack.
No. We'll do something else motherly.
Yeah.
God. Liam,
Yeah.
what did you think about 50 Shades of Grey?
Okay. Let's start with the positives, shall we? The way it was...
Okay, I haven't really thought of any, but go for it.
I quite liked the way it was filmed. Like, I thought it was shot very nice. Like, there's certain scenes of, like, the city at night, and they, like, obviously, like, helicopter shots and that. Generally, the way it was filmed was very slick, I thought.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also, didn't hate the soundtrack.
I can't really remember the soundtrack.
There's a few, like, songs. Like, one of the songs, I think, is Ellie Goulding.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think she wrote it to tie into the film or something. I don't know how it worked, but that it's the scene where they're flying around, I think, in a helicopter at night, and this song is playing.
Got you.
Yeah, you know, I thought the soundtrack was good. Maybe not good, but it was alright.
Yeah, not the worst thing in the film.
I've reached the end of my positives, Jack.
Yeah, and I'll be honest,
I
I haven't
actually,
got any.
Sorry, I also did appreciate how abruptly it ended, because I was not expecting that.
Yeah, but
Okay,
the fact that you know that there are 2 sequels. Oh, listeners, just to point out, if you want to go and watch 50 Shades of Grey and not have it spoiled, don't listen to us, because we're going to spoil it.
Yeah, it's also worth pointing out we haven't read the book it's based on.
No, and I don't think I ever will.
No, this is entirely based off of the film.
Yeah, this is just the film.
But yeah, I like, if you think, right, it's attempting to follow a pretty standard, typical rom-com formula with just a bit more sex.
I don't know if it's a rom-com.
Romantic. Oh, maybe less on the comedy, but it's trying to do a romantic story, right?
It's doing, the traditional, or
Yeah.
it seems to be leading towards the typical romance storyline.
Yeah, and the way it ends is very unusual for a film in this
Yeah,
sort of
I would
genre.
agree with you more if there weren't 2 sequels.
Well, yeah, but, you know...
Because I'm assuming, without watching them, I'm just going to assume that either in the next one or in the last one, they get together.
Probably. We'll have to watch it and find out.
No, we won't.
Bit of backstory, for those that aren't aware, the book it is based on started as Twilight fanfiction.
Yeah, I don't know why I know that. I think you might have told me that fact before.
Yeah, and you can, like, when I was watching it, I was messaging you and I was saying, like, the character traits from Twilight are so apparent in this.
Oh, yeah.
That, like, you can tell. Like, if you're aware of that bit of information, you can 100% be like, right, that's a Bella thing that she's done there. Different name, but that's exactly what Bella would do in that situation.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. You can totally, like, just all you have to do is replace vampires with BDSM, and that's not even proper BDSM, like this film's idea of BDSM, which is a separate issue that I'd want to make at some point.
Yeah, we'll definitely be discussing that.
But yeah, like,
the acting was not great.
No, I don't. Are you meant to like any of the characters in this film?
I think you're right. I'm not sure. Obviously, here's the thing, Jack. This film was clearly made for like a female audience. Because,
see, is it though?
Well, the audience of the book was predominantly female, and I would think if you're going to make a film version, you're going to want to tap into the audience of the source material, right? But
yeah,
again, if it is such a female focused film, I don't understand why there's been so much female nudity and so little male nudity in it.
Yeah, that's true.
But my point I was trying to make before I got sidetracked with that is I think if it's for a female audience, you're at least supposed to somewhat relate to the main character.
Yeah, cool. I didn't.
No, I didn't. But I didn't relate to Christian Grey either.
I think the only character I in any way related with was the roommate that seems to be having a normal relationship. Because I was like, oh, you seem like just a regular human being who isn't...
There was her photographer friend as well.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, any character that wasn't one of the 2 main characters, I was like, oh, you seem normal.
Well, yeah. Some of the dialogue was so bad. So bad. I think my favourite for bad dialogue was when Christian Grey said, "I'm 50 Shades of up."
Oh yeah, that was so bad.
And then there's another bit where he just sort of looks up at her across a table and just goes, "I want to you into next week."
Yes, that happens early on as well, doesn't it? Like when
Yeah.
he's starting to do all that, and you're like, "What
Yeah.
are you doing?"
Also, sorry for swearing, but they are quotes.
I'm
So-
still going to beep him, I think.
Like, yeah, but I'm saying I couldn't help it, you know?
That's fair.
The thing is, that dialogue is delivered so unconvincingly.
I think it's the issue they've got is they're doing, like you said, you know, the Twilight comparison. They're doing that whole main guy character is a cold, emotionless man, and
Yes.
the way that the easy way for a film to portray that is by getting the actor to just speak with no emotion, which unfortunately makes the act like, because I don't know if Jamie Dornan, there we go, if he's actually a good actor or not. But from this film, I would be like, you're very wooden and you don't do anything.
And I think that would be a very fair criticism.
Yeah, but then, like, to be fair, it doesn't feel to me like he couldn't act. It feels to me like they were like, that's how this character is. Do it.
And I haven't really seen anything else that he's in.
No.
And I guess this is probably his like most popular role, which is
I'd
a
assume
shame
so.
that like this is what people are going to know him for going forward.
Yeah.
Like if
'Cause
he
it
is a
very
good
just-
actor, then whoo, this is.
I mean, they're
taint.
very. They're just one-note characters. It's such a
They are.
issue.
I honestly don't know why. From an actor's perspective or an actress, sure, I guess the money must have been nice and a 3-picture deal must have been nice, but surely you had to have been aware that this wouldn't have actually helped your reputation going forward.
I do wonder, like, how much, like, whether actors, when you're, you know, if you're not a main list actor,
Yeah.
because you can't turn down stuff.
No.
So I wonder if it just gets to a point, like, because there's clearly got to be stuff that they do turn down, maybe where they're like, oh, I don't want to, you know, get typecast or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean,
But I wonder if it just gets to a point and you go, well, this film is so obviously going to be big.
Yeah. That you
I
kind
can't
of-
say no.
Possibly, but I would if I was an actress and I guess I wanted to be taken seriously, I don't think I could go in a film like this, because surely like anything now going forward, even if she's like an Oscar winner in a role, it's always going to be Dakota Johnson, you know, from 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
Like I'm just looking at what else she's been in, and I've seen How to Be Single. I honestly don't remember her in it. She was in Need for Speed apparently. So the thing is, she's in an episode of The American Office. It's not like she wasn't getting roles. She was in 21 Jump Street, The 5-Year Engagement. Like, you know, they were probably like smaller roles, but you know, she has. It's not like this was her first movie.
No, yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either, Liam.
I kind of feel bad for them more than anything.
Yeah.
And I was reading that a lot of the problems stem from the author, E.L. James, I think it is, who.
All right. Why?
On set, like sort of for some reason in her deal, she got to always be on set pretty much, and she was very protective of the script and any dialogue that she'd written from the books. So apparently the director had a lot of fighting with the author, because it's generally quite unprecedented for an author to have that much control over a film.
Yeah.
Like, normally you just hand over the licenses and whatnot. But no, she really got in the way. It sounded from like interviews and stuff I read, and the director had a real hard time.
I mean, she should have just not been involved in the film because it wasn't good.
Yeah, I mean it's not a surprise that the director for the sequel has changed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean the thing is, I can honestly say I was never like bored in it. There were bits that I had issues with, but and I definitely would not watch this again. But on a first time viewing sort of thing, it was fine. It wasn't boring or anything. It was just it was just bad.
I agree. Yeah, I wasn't sitting there being like, yeah, what is that? Because it is a bad film and I didn't enjoy it, but I wasn't bored in like how I was in other films that we've seen.
Yeah, exactly. Like Blue is the Warmest Colour, where you were just like, how are we?
Where I was
not at the end
very
yet?
bored.
Exactly. So good that it wasn't boring, but
it wasn't a good film, so I wouldn't ever recommend it to anyone.
No. So should we start talking about like the biggest issues then?
Okay, can I? I've written down 4 points about one particular scene.
Okay, go for it.
Which I think sort of emphasises my overarching issue with the way this film portrays BDSM.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a problematic portrayal.
Yeah, because I'm not into BDSM. Not particularly a fan. It's not my cup of tea. But people who are into it, you do you. If it's what you like, go for it.
My knowledge of BDSM is very limited. It's mostly the Sunstone comic book that we're going to do one day.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's not like I don't have a lot of personal experience with it.
Yeah, fair enough. But so this it seems like the way this film is portraying BDSM, the fact that the character that is into it and is trying to introduce this girl to his world of BDSM,
yeah,
the fact that he is clearly emotionally scarred and has some sort of issue,
yeah,
it seems to me that the whole time they're trying to be like BDSM is wrong.
See, that's not the reading I had of it.
Really?
Yeah, I just think they massively misrepresented what BDSM was supposed what it is like.
Well, yeah,
But I don't think the film was saying it's wrong. I think the film tries to make it look enticing and sexy. It just fails.
Oh yeah, no, it does. But then, so the reason, I don't think I had this assumption till the last few scenes.
Okay.
Because there's a specific scene.
Yeah.
Where, and I've got multiple issues with this, not just how it came across to me, but the whole scene was stupid.
Right.
But basically, after she's sort of off at him.
Yeah.
For some bullshit.
Yeah.
She goes to him and says, I want to see you do your worst.
Yes.
And he says, oh, no, you don't. It's going to be pretty bad. And she's like, oh, well, do it. Right? Yeah. So I've written 4 notes for why I was getting annoyed here.
Yeah.
And the first one is that, this is after the scene finished. I wrote these down.
Yeah.
She asked him to show her. She has a safe word, right?
Yeah.
But after it happens, she storms off and says, you will never touch me again. So firstly, my main issue is, she didn't have to be in that situation. She could have been out of it. So I don't think it's fair of her to flip out like she did.
Okay.
She specifically asks him for it.
Yeah.
He says to her, if this is too much, tell me and we'll stop.
Yeah.
But then, also, I'm not just having a go at her because he hits her 6 times with a belt.
Yeah.
Even though it's very obvious that she does not want that to happen.
Yes.
Right? So also, he should have stopped.
Yeah.
And then I've written that, are they portraying BDSM as a sick mental condition because it's just a fetish? Yeah. It's a fetish people have. But that was, the idea that he couldn't control it. There was this dark side to him that had to abuse her.
Yeah.
It felt... That was the bit where I was like, are they trying to sort of imply that BDSM's this? Because she's, effectively being like, you've got to stop this.
Yeah.
Which felt wrong to me, because I'm like, no. I would have much preferred a film where the BDSM was in it, but instead of them being like, it's the problem... or part of the problem, if they had just had it as part of it, and the actual problem was he was an emotionally distant human being. Yeah. And he learned to do BDSM the correct way, as opposed to this, sort of weird, I can't love you because I do BDSM.
Yeah. Well...
Oh, and then my 4th point was, I don't get this film's point. I swore, sorry about that. Sorry, people, that was, I've got that in my notes.
The other thing is, genuinely, and again, this isn't coming from a place of experience or knowledge, but... show me your worst in BDSM, and the worst is being spanked with a belt. I feel like that shows a lack of imagination.
Yes, yeah.
There's got to be worse things.
Oh yeah, his whole idea of BDSM seems very, vanilla.
Yeah, and the other thing is,
he's almost like a little boy that learnt about BDSM as a child, and then never researched it, didn't watch any videos, and just went, I like tying people with very soft silk.
I mean, that is an issue that is raised in the film and is very quickly brushed over in that...
Yeah. What's that about? He was sexually abused as a child, right?
Yeah. But apparently,
and she's like, you still see her.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, whatever, she's friends with me now.
Yeah.
And then Anastasia's like, oh, you should probably stop seeing her, not, you should report this to the police.
Yeah. So that was problematic. I think, right, the issues I have with how this film portrays BDSM, the entire, fundamental concept of BDSM, as far as I can understand, is it is all about mutual trust and respect. That's the fundamental basics. That's how it works.
You have to trust.
Yeah, that's why you have safe words and stuff put in place. But essentially, it is an exercise in trust. And again, from what I understand, the dominant person, they derive their enjoyment from pleasuring the submissive. Well, because it's not all about pain, right? There's an element.
No, you're
pain.
right, but it's also not. The pleasure isn't derived from giving them pleasure or pain. The reason that a dominant is dominant is that it's the idea of having not control, but being in the dominant situation. That's the so the pleasure and pain parts of it are part of the like control system, effectively.
See, I would have thought that the appeal of being dominant is the idea of, one, it's probably quite thrilling to have someone kind of give themselves over to you in such a way. So I guess there's that level of responsibility involved with it.
Yeah.
Again, I think responsibility is a key thing, because one of the appeals of submissive is giving up that responsibility.
Yeah.
But I personally think it is not just about that control, but how,
no.
how
It's
you
definitely.
use it.
I'm not saying it's just the control, but that is the core, because that's why. So looking at it from the opposite perspective,
Yeah.
a lot of okay, I'm trying to reason through my thoughts here because my brain's doing that thing where it's trying to make like 3 different points. Okay. So you've got, if you look at it from the other perspective of a submissive, a lot of the time people that are submissive are like you not always hear, but a lot of like big business people who have that responsibility in their day-to-day life. They enjoy giving it up in this role as a submissive, right? So that's like you said, responsibility. But then another side of it is that oftentimes, and I know this because I read a Reddit thread about a man who discovered his wife was into BDSM, so that's where I know this knowledge from. But he's like, people talking to him were like, not a lot of the time, again, I'm making big statements, which I don't mean. Some of the time, you like, people can experience BDSM without having any sexual pleasure in the actual act itself, because they won't be doing something sexual. So and they won't be doing anything pleasurable for the submissive either. But it's because they're giving, like you. I think the responsibility is the main thing, and so I don't think the pleasure and pain.
It's definitely an element, though.
It's part of it, but I think it's more the idea of being in a situation which you are not usually in, sort of thing.
Yeah, but I think like the pain is generally used as a way to emphasize the pleasure.
Yeah. But all I'm saying is I don't think we get it because we
only have like a very limited amount of knowledge about it.
But from what I've like heard people saying and talking about it, I think it's more the control and the roles you're in than who's getting pleasure. Do you know what I mean?
So what I'm saying is, I feel like with this film, it doesn't give you an accurate or even remotely like good portrayal of BDSM. This film,
no, 100%. This film didn't teach me anything about BDSM.
No, and you know, sure, it's not necessarily the responsibility of the film to teach you that, but I think it is the responsibility of the film to show it in a fair light, which they don't do. Basically, this is a guy who completely abuses BDSM and his role of a dominant person in it to get what he wants. Like, the way I saw this film is basically Anastasia Steele, all she really wants is a traditional relationship. She doesn't actually have any kind of interest in BDSM. From the impression I was getting, it felt to me like she was saying, I will do this, but
because I want to be in a relationship with you.
Yeah, in return, we need to do normal datey things like going to the cinema and stuff. Now, that isn't a good kind of like foundation to build a BDSM relationship on, because I think both parties need to be 100% willing to try this in a like responsible way.
Yep, I agree.
So it's just a horribly skewed representation of BDSM. And the way that it's shown in the film, to me, I just don't think that's accurate.
No, I definitely think they did a really terrible job of portraying that aspect.
Yeah, because like it all seems to be focused around him more so than her. It doesn't seem to be like a fair, even trade.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And the thing that then would worry me about this is, you know, if someone watches this who doesn't have a lot of knowledge of BDSM, they're going to think that's okay. That's fine. BDSM is basically just entirely giving yourself up to someone and letting them do what they want with you, which isn't what BDSM is about.
Nope.
So that was an issue. And again, like we touched on earlier, just like, obviously I have no personal issue with the amount of female nudity in this film, but I'm also not in the target demographic, and I just don't understand why you would have so much female nudity and so little male nudity. Again, it should be even split, right?
Yeah, that does seem weird that there was such a focus on.
Like, there's not even a penis.
No, that's true.
And I get that, like, showing erect penises is a bit of a no-no in films. But
yeah.
A film like 50 Shades of Grey kind of needs that.
The balance.
Yeah. Like, you need to see a penis.
Well, we didn't, but yes, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I didn't come out of it saying, I wish I'd seen a penis.
I did.
Okay.
Because I just think that would have been a better film if we'd seen a penis in it.
Sure, Liam.
Well, it would have been fairer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just there's a lot of issues with, and we're probably not the right people to be pointing out these issues because of our lack of knowledge.
The fact that we saw the issues, like,
yeah, but okay. So what worries me
in and of
then?
itself.
What worries me is if people who like this film, because surely it's done well to get a sequel, right?
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Its rating is 4.1 on IMDb, which is below average.
Yeah.
Its popularity has dropped, even though the next film's coming out. The third film's coming out at some point soon.
But I can tell you, like, so let's take my mum for example. She's not going to watch this and then go on IMDb and rate it.
No, but that's so. Here's like, I don't know. I don't think it's, you can't put something like this out into the world and say, well, it's not for you, because the issues that we've got with this film that we're talking about right now, aren't. It's not like it's not their thing. Do you know what I mean? It's not their target audience. Right, they're talking about something that the world has. There's this. There are people that are into BDSM. That's a thing.
Yeah.
And it affects the portrayal of their fetish.
Yeah. And
to the rest of the world. So this film can't then we can't then say, well, we can't, our opinion's less valid because it's not aimed at us. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but I'm not saying our opinion is less valid. If anything, like the fact that us who don't know a lot about BDSM can see that it's not a fair portrayal, I just think we're maybe not the right spokespeople for that. There'll be people with a lot more education and knowledge who can point out more accurately where it's gone wrong. Yeah,
100%. If we've got listeners that are into BDSM, if you're out there listening to us, don't snort.
Well, no, I'm just thinking, like, do we then have to, like, if you want to email us, we'll maybe like make your name anonymous if you want.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Email us. Let us know if you want to keep your name anonymous. That's fine. But like, in all seriousness, if you like know more about the world of BDSM and what the sort of like core concepts are and stuff, let us know, because I find that shit interesting. Like learning stuff about things like that.
Especially when it has been so inaccurately portrayed, it would be very interesting to see the flip side.
Yeah, it would be interesting to hear someone tell us what their experience of that world has been.
Yeah.
And why this film portrayed it so poorly.
Yeah. But honestly, it does worry me that the film, people would go to see this film and just think that's what BDSM is and that's okay.
I don't think they would, though. I don't think anyone would see this film and go, oh, that's what it is, so that's what I should do. Because here's the thing, you would only do that if you wanted that. Like, I don't watch films and go, oh, that's the way that is, so I should do it.
No, but
so
surely...
the only people that would have that experience would be people that were like, oh, I'm okay giving myself fully to it.
But surely...
And then you can't say to them, no, don't.
The success of this film lies in the fantasy of it, right? Like, if anyone was to like this film, I would imagine it's because they like the fantasy of being Anastasia Steele, finding their own like Christian Grey, and going on this journey, right? Like that's got to be if you like or don't like the film, would have to fall into how much you buy or don't buy into that fantasy.
Yeah.
And the fact that the book is so popular and the film, you know, it did good box office. Surely there's a lot of people then that like that fantasy. And if they like
here's the thing. I think it's less the fantasy of it. I don't think the people that are enjoying this are thinking, oh, maybe I should try BDSM.
But maybe
they're watching it and it's the escapism.
Yeah, that's
possible. But Liam, the things that I like watching involve elves hitting each other with swords, but I don't want to then go out in the world with a sword and start hitting people.
No, but
what you are doing, Liam, is the inverse of what adults have done to us as kids. The video games make you violent. I don't think this film is affecting anyone's sexual life. It might make them a bit more experimental.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think any wives went home to their husbands and went, I want you to beat me with a belt.
No, but I do think it would, like you said, make people a little bit more experimental. Like, I was watching a program a while back. It was either when the film or the book came out, and I remember because Portsmouth came up in the program, and they were talking about how after the book came out, there was a huge increase in sales of sex toys and stuff, which is great. Yeah. Like, one of the things I really appreciated about the book is that it's always felt to me like in society, men are allowed to talk about sex and fetishes and that sort of thing, and women, the way it seems to me is they're kind of not really given much of a platform to have that discussion on. What? And the book seemed to open that up, and suddenly like women were talking very openly about sex and, you know, non-traditional sex, which is a great thing.
Even then, Liam, when you say men can talk about sex, I think that I don't think they can. I think society as a whole, Western society, has real issues with sex. Not men and women, the whole of our society.
But it's
because men can talk about sex, and they do, to each other, which is the issue. So women are probably doing that as well, but it's behind closed doors, because we're very, as a society, we like to hide the fact that people are having sex.
But I think it's generally just known that men like porn and like wanking. Like, that's just a thing that
but there's an issue with that in that it's not like men have got the right to do it and everyone's okay with it, because the idea that men are sex mad creatures is perpetrated by our society as well, which is also not a fair representation of it.
No,
so I don't think it's that women are being penalised. I think both sides have got this sex is a real fucked up problem in the Western world, that we view it as this weird thing that men adore and women are meant to be frigid. And in reality, everyone's in the middle, where people like sex and sexual stuff, and it's okay to like it. And guess what? Some people don't, and they don't have to, and it's all fine.
But what I'm saying is, it seems like it's more okay for men to, like, have that image and talk about it. And it's like, I disagree. Let me finish my point, though.
I think men would be shot down if they were to, like,
Well, if I can get to the end of my point, then we can discuss it, okay?
Okay,
so
fine.
I'm saying, I think that it's just generally assumed that men watch porn, and that's okay, and it's also generally assumed that women don't. And that's totally, probably incorrect. Like, surely there's women that watch porn. What I liked when the book came out is it felt like we were making steps to changing these attitudes. Like, suddenly, this book allowed, like, women were going on chat shows and stuff, talking about it and talking openly about sex, which we hadn't really got a whole lot of before. And I appreciated that we had something that was doing that. It's just a shame that the thing that has opened the gate for that depicts it in such a flawed way.
Right. So the thing is, Liam...
Yeah.
This isn't porn. 50 Shades of Grey isn't porn. It's borderline. Well, you could make the argument for it being porn, right?
The film isn't,
but that's not. So that isn't balancing. That doesn't balance the world of porn, because women still aren't talking about porn.
It's not. If anything, porn, this book encourages just about discussing that sort of thing.
Right. So let me ask you then.
Yeah.
What TV show and chat show have you seen where men openly go on the chat show and go, "Yeah, so the kind of porn and fetishes that I'm into are this"?
It's generally.
I think you're blinkering yourself by assuming that because you talk to your friends about porn, that
I don't think it is that. I think,
and that women don't.
If you look at comedy, for example, like panel shows and stuff, it'll be discussed on that sort of thing in a very
women are on those shows as well.
Yeah, and I do not think they have half as much of a discussion as men do.
I think you're generalising on such a horribly unrealistic level.
This is just what I've seen in my life.
Yeah, and I'm disagreeing with you.
Yeah, maybe
there are so many female comedians that make sexual jokes.
They do, but not in the same way.
So here's my thing, Liam. I don't think you're like wrong or being bad, but I think you're evidencing what society's making you think, which is it's not that women don't talk about sex and that men do talk about sex, and that's the issue. It's that society wants you to think that. Society is trying to make you think that women don't talk about sex and trying to make you think that men do talk about sex, but in reality, everyone does. I don't think women are being oppressed or that men are being whatever the opposite of oppressed is about sex. I think you're just falling into Western society's view that all sex is weird to talk about. Like,
it's possible.
I think that's the problem. I don't think the problem is that women haven't had a way to speak about it and that men have. I think it's that society doesn't want anyone to speak about it, which is why only comedians do, because the whole point of comedy is they go against society and make these jokes. The reason they're funny are that they are not what you're expecting people to say.
Yeah.
I think that's the real issue. The fact that, like, you can show someone being decapitated in a film, but sex and
you
stuff
can't
like
show
that gets you
penis.
higher ratings. Yeah, that's insanity.
It is.
Whereas in some Eastern cultures, it's like the other way around. Like, the violence is the worst thing and the sex is the okay thing, because they're like, well, yeah, everyone's having sex.
Yeah, although, is it Japan or somewhere where you're not allowed to show pubic hair?
Yeah, no, but Japan has very different reasons for it. I did read into it once, and I can't remember. It's not pubic hair. In Japan, all, like, the vaginas and stuff are blurred out, as are the penises.
Right, okay.
They've got, like, this is something to do with America. Not, that sounded like I'm blaming the, like, nukes and shit for porn. But there was some weird tie-in to that, and I can't remember what it was.
Okay.
But I've read about it once, and it was quite fascinating.
Yeah. To wrap this up, I wish 50 Shades of Grey was more responsible with the way it depicted BDSM.
I just wish they hadn't made this film.
I wish they had made it. I just wish they'd made it better.
I could do without this film existing.
Because if this film had been exactly the same, but it had been an accurate portrayal of BDSM, I think that would have been a good thing.
It would have, but I still think it would have been a boring film.
But it wasn't boring.
A bad film.
Yeah. I mean, you might want to cast people who actually have chemistry with each other and can act.
Make a character that isn't just one note the entire time.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you could do better.
Maybe don't play the age-old storyline that damn it, I swore again, that we're bored of, which is woman meets man that she needs to fix.
Yeah, I mean...
So, at this point, that is such a rote story.
Yeah.
Like, writers need to come up with better stuff.
Yeah, I think, in all honesty, all of the issues with this film can be traced back to the writing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
To me, like, this film definitely feels like E.L. James is basically going, if I was Bella and Edward was real, what would I let him do to me?
I really got confused there where you said Bella, but now I've realised.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Twilight is better.
Yeah, it is.
Significantly.
Yeah, if you want to watch this film, go and watch Twilight.
Yeah, which doesn't touch on BDSM at all. It has its own issues.
Vampires.
Definitely has its own issues with like stalking and unhealthy relationships.
Oh, 100%.
But it's definitely better than this.
Yep.
So why is it, do you think, that these films, and I think you're probably going to want to argue, but I think you can say that Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey are more aimed at a female audience than a male audience.
Yeah.
Why do you think both of them at their core have an unhealthy relationship?
Well, I think it's the issue that's... It's a tricky subject.
Mm.
But again, I think the issue is that society wants people to act certain ways as well. And one of those ways is the idea that it's a woman's job to fix a man.
So do you think these films sort of perpetrate that stereotype?
Yeah, 100%. Because I think younger girls went to see Twilight and were like, oh, they're right. I need to pick the sort of bad guy who's ignoring everyone, and I need to fix him.
Yeah.
And this film is aimed at an older crowd who go, oh, I wish I had found a man with problems that I could fix. And like, in reality, that's not what a relationship should be founded on. It should be equal. Everyone's an equal member in the relationship.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that's why they make them. And I also think it's an issue that they make films like this.
Definitely. Especially, like, do you get, and this isn't like me sort of trying to lead you in a certain way, I'm just genuinely asking, do you think you get as many films aimed at men where the focus is an unhealthy relationship?
I think that the traditional way that they portray an unhealthy relationship for men in these sort of romantic films tends to be the old relationship where the man will have had a crazy ex. I did air quotes there, listeners.
Yeah.
Because that also annoys me. Again, I think it's just the way that society not wants people to think, but how society has been.
Right.
And that plays into it. And
The
it's
other
not necessarily the right thing.
The other thing that bothered me about 50 Shades of Grey is how I don't think you'd have this film if he wasn't wealthy. And it's yet another example of how basically if you have enough money, you can get away with doing whatever you want. Because imagine, right? Just imagine.
No, but again, you're buying into it. You're buying into the idea of this. Because I agree. I want you to make your point, Liam, but very quickly.
Yeah.
Again, it's not that you can do that. It's that is the perception that society has.
Well,
I want to make it...
And also that's what this film is trying to say.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But that's what I mean. It's the idea. Even though that isn't true, if you are filthy rich, you can go to jail. That happens. But society has this idea that if you're rich, you can get away with shit.
Yeah. Imagine this film, if she meets Christian Grey, she goes for the interview, she meets him, and she's just having a nice little chat, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm into BDSM, if you're interested, I live with my parents, I'm in the basement, I've got it all set up with some kinky stuff, come over, Mum will cook us dinner, and then we can get some BDSM going on in the basement. Like, it would have
That would have been a much better film.
But
But yes, you're right, it doesn't... Yeah, it wouldn't happen.
It's just,
like, as in, the film wouldn't have been made with that premise.
And again, it just comes into this, it's such an unhealthy attitude towards sex, towards, like, money, like, oh, if this guy's super rich, yeah, let him spank you with a belt. Why not? He's rich.
Yeah, this whole film is up, Liam. It's 50 Shades of up. I've got to bleep so many times there.
God. How would you give it out of 5?
1.
That's fair. I've probably gone a bit high, but I've given it 2 out of 5 just because I wasn't bored. I liked the ending, and to be honest, I kind of am curious what happens in the next one.
Well,
I'm probably
going to
hate it,
and then let us know.
Yeah, I will probably hate it, but I am curious.
Yeah, I can only assume it doesn't get better.
It can't get a whole lot worse, though, can it?
I can only imagine.
So, Jack, what are we doing on the next episode?
Well, Liam, on the next episode, we are going to be doing Before Sunrise.
Do you know anything about this film?
I know that you like it.
So that's all you need to know, really, to turn you right off of it.
No, Liam, don't forget, I'm not like you. I don't go into these films with preconceived ideas.
Okay.
Except for 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah. Just remind me, like this. Okay, this is not a Mumblecore film, but remind me what your issue with Mumblecore was again.
My issue with Mumblecore was that I was like seeing a week of this dude's life and it was boring.
Okay, cool.
Is this film a week in someone's life that's going to be boring?
I don't think so, but
Okay.
I also like Mumblecore.
Yeah, I know.
And I think some of the stuff I like most about Mumblecore, you could maybe see in this film. But it's not a Mumblecore film.
Okay.
I'd like to make that super clear.
Okay. I know that they'd made sequels to this, like 10 years apart.
Yeah. We'll discuss that on the next episode. Don't look into it, because I don't want to spoil anything.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what we're doing. If you've seen Before Sunrise, why don't you send us an email, send us a tweet, message us on Facebook? How could they do those things?
You can tweet us at nerdonnerd. You can email us at nerdonnerdpod@gmail.com. The Facebook is facebook.com/nerdonnerdpod. And, I mean, if you go on the Twitter, you can find links to all these things. They're everywhere. Oh, and, of course, you can go on YouTube and watch this show broken up into segments or listen to the whole show. And how do they get to the YouTube, Liam?
If you just search Nerd on Nerd, all one word, it should get you there. If it doesn't, add in Fleshlight and see if that works, or is called a Fleshlight, something along those lines. If you're really, really, really struggling, go to our Twitter account. There'll be a link to it in one of our tweets. Click it, and then subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll never miss another video.
Way.
I will say now, we're a bit behind, because obviously me not having internet for a week has meant I haven't been able to edit or upload the video like I would like to have done by now. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to be busy when I do get my internet back.
That is a good point. You're going to have lots of fun.
I will. But yeah, the other thing you could do is maybe leave us a review on iTunes.
Yep.
5 stars.
5 stars, please.
And some nice words. Like, if it's a really nice review, as those who listened last week would find out, we'll read it out.
Any final thoughts, Liam?
Happy Mother's Day. I hope you all treat your mum right.
My mum is the best mum. Bye!
My mum is a better mum. Bye.
Cutting that bit out.